Hey, this is Frank Honus, and I want to welcome you to the Pure Life Podcast, helping individuals live with sexual integrity through Jesus Christ. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 81 of the Pure Life Podcast. The last couple weeks we've been in a series called Stepping Stones to Recovery, and we've been talking about the major steps that you need to take, that you and I need to take in recovery, really laying out a purity strategy, a purity process, and stepping stones to recovery to sexual health, whether it's a pornography addiction, whether it's an addiction to lust and fantasy, there's some kind of sexual struggle in your life and you're trying to really get better and you're trying to heal. Stepping Stones to Recovery will be the series for you, and I hope you've been really enjoying the last couple weeks. And so the first two steps, if you kind of hit the rewind button and go back and listen into the archives, the first 2 weeks, the first two steps were really steps that you could take on your own, and you really didn't need to involve anybody else in your purity process, in your recovery process. But tonight's step, this week's step that I talk about, requires that you step out of your private world and that you really get honest with another individual. And so this week, I think this week's stepping stone will be a real challenge for a lot of people. I know it's a challenge for a lot of men to step out and to do what we're going to talk about this week, which is finding a counselor. Finding a counselor. This is an incredibly integral step, I think, to finding recovery and finding purity. And many men don't want to take this step. And I think there's a number of reasons why, as I've been kind of thinking about this. Why do men struggle with finding a counselor? Why do they why is there so much difficulty there? And the first thing I think is that I think a lot of men think that if they try to find a counselor, if I go to a counselor for my porn problem or my sexual struggles, that it means there's something wrong with me. And I just want to stop for a second and just say to you, especially if you're a man, you're watching or listening to this podcast, that there's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. That you are the product of hurt. You're the product of pain, whether it's been hurt or pain that's been done to you or just simply choices that you've made in life. There's nothing wrong with you. And there's nothing wrong when we look outside of our world for help. When we look outside of, and what I mean outside of our lives, our private worlds, for help. So I think another reason that men find so much difficulty is that they say that they're too busy, and they allow their work schedule and their golf schedule and their sports schedule and whatever the things they like to do, and all of a sudden it becomes, oh, I'm too busy, I don't have time. But really, I think what I've found is that a lot of men are just afraid. They're afraid of another man, another individual coming into their life and asking them the hard questions. And it is challenging when somebody gets in your face a little bit and when wants to ask you the difficult questions, to peel back the layers and really ask what's going on in your world, what's going on in your life. Another reason is that a lot of guys think that it's expensive, and the truth is that it does cost. The reality is that counseling does cost money, but there are options available. And I think the last reason, many men, they only want to go so far in their recovery journeys. And this has probably been one of the most discouraging things for me to see as I've talked with men and worked with men in the past, in the past 5 years, is that a lot of men, they only want to go up to this certain point right here. Maybe they'll admit that, what, I've got a problem with my life. Maybe they'll come to that, week one place where they're broken and they start to get honest with themselves. And maybe they'll even put some filtering software, but man, they will not step out of their private world and talk to somebody and let somebody in. And they only go so far in their recovery journeys. So a few reasons there why I think men struggle to find counseling and find a counselor. But for me, finding a counselor really did help, kind of like an onion, to peel back the layers to my addiction and really ask the question, why do I use porn? Why do I masturbate? What are the reasons? What is the real problem going on inside of me? Is porn a problem? Yes. But I would venture to say that porn, that masturbation, that fantasy, that sleeping around, that whatever, your sexual struggles and addictions, it's not the real problem, that there's deeper stuff going on inside of your heart, inside of your mind. And it's really important that we step out and make this step to find someone who is qualified. Counselors are trained. They're licensed individuals that go to school for this specific purpose. This is what they do. And so if there's anybody that we should try to find in our recovery journeys, even if it's only for a season of our lives, it should be a counselor, a trained counselor. And specifically, too, if you can find a counselor that's trained in sexual addiction therapy, that would be awesome. I asked you this question last week, and I want to ask it again. In light of this step that we're taking this week, that I'm challenging you to take, finding a counselor, what is your sobriety and recovery worth to you? Maybe you got in week one, you got honest with yourself. Right? Maybe you said, you know what, I know that I really do have an issue and a problem, but in week two, maybe you did check out some of those links that I posted, and you found some accountability software for your computer and kind of took that step, but you're not sure if you really want to get open and get vulnerable and honest with another individual about your struggle, especially a counselor, a therapist. But again, I would ask you the question, what is your sobriety and your recovery worth to you? Is it worth it? Is it worth, maybe getting over that fear that somebody's going to reject you? Because, if you find the right person, you find the right counselor, it might take a couple different people, you will not be rejected. And again, there's nothing wrong with you. So I want to share some options with you for finding the right counselor. There's a number of ways that you can go to really find the right person. I would encourage you to check out a website, and these will be last week they weren't linked. I'm going to really try to link them up in this area here in the video if you're watching the podcast on the video, so you can see them. But check out this website, aacc.net. That's the American Association of Christian Counselors, and these are trained, licensed Christian counselors. Christ-filled, Spirit-filled, God-fearing men and women who are trained in sexual addiction therapy. If you go onto that website, aacc.net, you can come to a section where you can find a counselor in your local area. There's thousands of trained AACC counselors across our nation, across our country, that really, and they're trained specifically, many of them, in sexual addiction therapy and counseling. So check out aacc.net. I want to plug another website. A friend of mine, Jeff Fisher, who has a website, hosts a website called puritycoaching.com. My friend Jeff, he's a purity coach. And he's a great friend, but he also has an incredible ministry and a passion for helping men who are struggling with sexual addiction. His wife, Marsha, also helps women. But Jeff can help you kind of get started down the right path. He has a number of online groups that he does. He does phone counseling. He will be in contact. He does accountability jumpstart to get you jump started down the right path for accountability. But I really want to encourage you. Jeff, you will find probably will also be very flexible with you on the financial cost as well. And it is not necessarily a licensed trained counselor, but man, he is experienced, and he's one of the wisest people I know. And so if you just mention that you watched Frank Honus's podcast, the Pure Life podcast, and I'm sure maybe he'll give you a little discount cut there. But puritycoaching.com is another site you can check out. I also want to encourage you, if maybe finding a trained licensed counselor is a little bit hard for you to do, or maybe you don't have many counselors trained and licensed in your area, especially in sexual addiction therapy. Maybe check out a pastoral counselor. Find a pastor in your local church. That might be a great start for you. They may not specialize in sexual addiction therapy, but they may be able to help you or have the contacts available. So go to your church, during the week sometime, and give your pastor a call. They may have someone on staff that specializes in counseling, and at least from a spiritual perspective and a spiritual angle, will be able to help you in this journey for purity. I found pastoral counseling to be very, very effective and very helpful. They are limited in their knowledge of sexual addiction because that's not what they're trained in. But again, they may have the contacts available for you. And then the last option I would just, encourage you and recommend if, you can't find a counselor in your area, or, for some reason you don't want to check out some of these websites or find it difficult, I really want to encourage you to find a seasoned coach. Okay, what does that mean? Someone who has basically some years of sobriety under their belts. Take them out to lunch, take them out for coffee, and maybe bribe them a little bit, and share your story with them. It's a great way to get some time with somebody who is kind of seasoned in this area, in this struggle. And you might be able to find that person through your pastor. Your pastor may recommend somebody in the church congregation or in the community that he knows of, or my friend Jeff would probably be able to recommend some people maybe in your area. He's got some really great contacts, but find a seasoned coach, someone who may not be necessarily a counselor per se, or licensed trained counselor, but man, they know what they're doing. So take some time and really pray about that. And just remember that in all these options, when finding a counselor, that this week's stepping stone, it requires you to step out of your private world. It requires you to make this decision. I can only share the resources with you and the encouragement with you and my own personal story, but you've got to be the one to step out of your private world. And so I want to encourage you to do that, to really dig down deep and find that courage, find that strength to say that, I can't beat porn alone. I can't beat masturbation by myself. I can't defeat this addiction and this struggle, all alone. I just can't do it. I need help from the outside. I need to get out of my world. And so I want to share Ephesians 5:13 with you in closing. It says, "But everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light." And so this week's stepping stone is a fantastic way to really shine the light on your addiction, to really shine the light on those dark places, those secrets in your life. That pornography addiction, those lustful thoughts in your mind that just rage and rage and rage, and you can't stop. It shines the light on these things by sharing your story, by getting out. And yes, there is a financial cost to it. But again, is it worth it to you? Is purity really worth it to you? Because I want to encourage you to do that, and encourage you this week by finding a counselor and taking this next step in your recovery, this next stepping stone in your recovery. And next week we're going to talk about becoming a part of a support group. Again, we're broadening our world, or we're stepping out of our private world now, and we're broadening our reach. We're trying to find other people that we can connect with and share our story with. We're going from privacy and secrecy into getting ourselves out into the light, getting our story out into the light, and our struggles and our addictions. So I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Find a counselor this week. Hang in there and keep pursuing purity. It is worth it every moment. And if you need me, you can reach me, email me at any time, frank@purelifepodcast.com. Have an awesome week. We'll see you next week. God bless. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the podcast this week. I want to encourage you to check out our website, purelifepodcast.com, for a lot of great blogs and resources and podcasts from previous episodes to help you along in your journey for sexual purity. Remember, you can listen to the podcast on our website, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. And if you need to contact me for any reason, if you have questions or comments, email me at frank@purelifepodcast.com. That's frank@purelifepodcast.com. See you next week.